Hello YouTube, this is just a quick video to show you how to mod Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3 or whatever Souls game that you want to modify. First of all, you need this program that's called Yapt Room Bear 2.14. You can Google it, Yapt Room Bear, and then write GitHub, and you'll find two versions. Now, this is the personal version for browser, and this is the latest one. You go to releases and you download it from here. I don't recommend working with this one though. Sorry, not this one. Wait a second. I think, yes. I don't recommend working with this one because it's an old one and it was released in 2019. So don't work with this one. Use the Room Bear edition instead. Now the guy that has made this made a huge progress on the modding of Elden Ring, and in this video I'm going to show you how to model basic things in Elden Ring. Now let's first understand what these parameters are. These are the parameters for the game. Okay, now if you find some weather mod, it's going to use one of these weather params or weather lot params. Alright, you have I'm going to talk about the main ones that you're going to use. The SP effect param, this one has all the effects that happen when you obtain an item, like for example Golden Rune 1. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see rune gain plus 200. Now you can modify this value, let's say 10,000 for example, and then you could just click away and you can go file, save, and it will be saved. Okay, but before that, when you start the program, you need to open the file. Let me show you how you open the file. You go to the directory of the game. For me, it's Elden Ring and then game, and then I'm going to go to regulation.bin. Here it is. So you double click the file, and then you wait for it to load, and it's going to give you a prompt saying that the file is open. Now make sure before you open this that you have the game set on Elden Ring. Otherwise you might have an error. Now the first time you start Yapt, it's going to give you an error, but that's fine. Okay, so the things that you need to know here are, let's say this one shows you clear count correct param. Now you can see that I have the names here. If you don't have the names, and by default you won't have them, you go to field data and you click on import stock row names and you hit no, and that's going to give you all the names that you need. Okay, so I have the new game plus 0. Now I previously made a mod that changes the rune multiplier. You can see that I have 0.25 multiplier, and then I go new game plus 1 and I have a 0.75 multiplier, and so on. So as I scroll down, I can see all the multipliers. Now what happens if I want to change one? I can change one from here, and I can change also all these parameters. But bear in mind that these parameters will affect the NPCs or the bosses you fight in the game, so be careful with them. Moving on, we have the calc correct graph. Now this shows us the level up. This shows us the level ups that your character is going to have when you level up. Like for example, the stamina, the 0 threshold for it is 0, and the first soft cap is at 10, and then the second at 20. The third is 40, and the third is 40, and the fourth is 99. So this is the maximum level here, and you can see that there are some threshold coefficients. Yeah. So this is the shield stamina. So this says that nothing will change as you level up. Let me show you something else here. Let's go to HP scaling. Now I'm using a mod right now, so you might not find the same values that I'm using. You might find this as 300, I think. But anyways, so the minimum value is 1, and the soft cap is at 25, and then at 40, and then at 60. So after 60, you're going to see a soft cap, and I'm going to show you what I mean right now. Let's type Elden Ring vigor. Sorry about that. Vigor. Extra life. Oh, extra life. And then we go here. Okay, so this is the vigor. I can go here and I can see the vigor. It goes to 60 here. It goes to 60, and after that, whenever you level up, you don't increase as much. So here you're increasing by 13, by 16, so the vigor is increasing, your HP basically is increasing by 20, by 19, by 18, and then once you reach 60, you're going to increase by 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 as you move on, and then it's 5, and 4, and 3. Now these parameters control this, okay, these parameters control this. So the maximum HP that you're going to have is 2000. Here it says 2100, so I'm using a mod that changes this, but nevertheless you can change this however you want. Now bear in mind that in the previous Souls games, this worked differently. They had all the levels in here, so you could see vigor +1, +2, +3, +4, but Elden Ring implemented a new system to make it easier for the developers to develop something like this. So this is the stamina again. Let's see, we have the stamina at level 40. I'm going to Google stamina here. I'm just going to replace vigor with stamina, and we are going to go to Extra Life, and you can see the stamina is at 40. Now when we reach stamina level 40, we are going to be soft capped because we are going to have 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, now before that you're going to have some 2s and some 1s, but after that things change because you are going to have 1s and then 1, 2, and then 3 1s and then a 2, and so on. So this is a soft cap for the endurance. Okay. So, you have here the equipped goods. Now this has the rings that you have, but bear in mind this doesn't control what the ring does. What the ring does is here, SP effect param. So be careful not to change anything here because, be careful because you need to change it in there, not in here. Now you can see that this is the maximum flask of Cerulean Tears that you can have. Okay, so this is the protector, equip param protector. This shows us the armor that you can have. You see hood, armor, gloves, boots. Now you can change all the parameters associated with these things, like the poise. Now if you want to look for something, what if I want to look for something like poise? I could go to field data, edit, and then I will go to find next here, and I'm going to type poise. It's going to look in the right menu for the poise. Now if I hit find next field, which is shift F3, I'm going to see the poise again. So these parameters are for the poise. Alright. Okay, so these are the weights. You can see the weight for the item, you can see the sell value, you can see the repair value, you can see the toughness correction, and so on. Now this toughness correction, I believe, is associated with poise. You can hover over something and you can see what the description for it is. Okay, so moving on, we have the weapons. Now one thing I'd like to modify about the weapons is, let's say I want to look for greatsword. Again. Now you can see that these are all the greatswords, the greatsword weapons. Each Ash of War gives you a different one. Now you might not have the same number that I have because Reforged, I'm using the mod Elden Ring Reforged, and it adds some greatswords. They have a specific way of doing this. I don't believe that if you add a row, you will be able to have one more of these. It's more complicated than that. Okay, so let's look for, I was looking for a greatsword, but I can't find it, so I will just look for grafted. Okay, this is the grafted blade greatsword, which looks like this. I'm looking for this one. We are going to see the poise damage for it. Yes, the poise damage is 8. Now there are some calculations for the poise damage, but if you want more poise, if you want, for example, to increase the poise that you are dealing to enemies, you're going to increase this number. Alright, so here there's the weight percentage, the weight, the sell price, the reinforcement price, the repair price. All of these are there. Okay, you can even I believe you can even reduce the strength requirement. Let's see, strength over stat. No. Okay, so it's there somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I can look it up. Requires strength 40, so we're looking for a number of 40 here. 14. Yes, here it is, 50. Actually, my mod changes this to 50, and it has the intelligence requirement of 25. I clicked on another one by mistake. Okay, here it is, 40, and the dex requirement is 14. So this is how you change it. You can change it into 10, for example, and you can use it to fight, mark it at the start or something. All right, moving on, we have the graphics config. Now, these are currently unknown. The person that develops this did not import the names, so we don't really know what these things mean, but I think in time we will be able to know what they work here. Anyways, so we have the magic here. These are the incantations and the sorceries. These are all the things that you can use. And NPC param. Now, I've made a mod that nerfs the Crucible Knight. What I did was just reduce the poise from 40 to from 80 to 40. Now I'm going to show you something really good, and you might want to use it. The thing is, you can go to export data here and hit yes. Actually, it's not going to show you yes in your model, but in mine it does, because I already exported this before. So I'm going to go to the directory of the program, and I'm going to go to projects, example mod, CSV, and Elden Ring, and I'm going to open this file. See this file? So I'm going to open it, and you don't need a sophisticated program. I'm just using LibreOffice, which is a free version of it's like a free version of Microsoft Office, except that it's free and it's, I believe, open source, so anybody could use it. I'm going to hit OK, but before that, I'm going to make sure that I hit semicolon. This doesn't affect much, but I like to use it just in case. So I'm going to hit OK, and now these, okay, so sorry. So these inputs now are all listed in here. So you can see that I have, let me go up. Here's the blade half wolf, and here's the blade half wolf. Now, why is this important? This is important because you might want to look for something specific. Let's say I want to go to the first row and hit data and then autofilter, and then I can go and look for the Crucible Knight, for example. And here they are. I could just click OK, and now I can only see the Crucible Knights. Now, let's say that I want to change the poise of the Crucible Knight. Now here, when you hover over it, it says Super Armor. So bear in mind that these names on the right, not on the left, on the right, these names on the right are not the same as these ones. So these columns should reflect these numbers on the right, but they are not named the same. So I'm going to look for Poise, but I cannot find it. You can see that I cannot find it. I'm going to look for Poise, and you can see that it's not there. So I'm going to look for something else. Now I know for a fact that this is called SA something, SA Recovery, or SA Super Armor, maybe. One moment, SA. Going to show up right now. Okay, SA recovery rate, and here it is. Super Armor, yes. Super Armor durability. So these are the Super Armor durabilities. Now you can see here that I have a problem with exporting this this file, because this row is empty. It should not be empty. Some params are exported like this whenever they have parentheses over them, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to look for Super Armor, and then whenever I find it, Super Armor Recovery Correction, no, Super Armor. Okay, here it is. The durability, I can change all these into 40, so I can change this number into 40, and then I can paste all this into 40, and now, like I said, some of these inputs will not be exported correctly because of the gaps, so we might have an error with exporting. It has this problem of exporting data. So whenever you're done, you can use this for a model that doesn't corrupt these, but I'm assuming that the problem is fixed in the future or something, so I'm going to hit File and then Save. Okay, so when I'm done, I can right click this. Let me show you how it looks like in Notepad++. Notepad++ is a program that you can use. It's open source. You can download it from Google. You can Google it. It's a free software. So let's see how it looks like. Now, whenever I hover over a line or click over a line, you can see that I have this 2 here, and this is the second line. So this is the second line, and so on. So if I scroll a little bit, I should find blade. This is blade. See, this is blade, and this is the line for blade. Now, when I click import right now, it's not going to import the file. It's going to give me an error, and it's going to give me lots of errors because there's a problem with importing. So how could we fix this? What if you modified all the NPCs in the game and you wanted to re-import this file again? Well, simply you could go to the right and then add this semicolon, because yapt needs this semicolon. I'm going to explain this in a bit. So I'm going to hit the bottom of this, and whenever I'm done, I'm going to click on this semicolon, and I paste this semicolon, and then I'm going to select all this. I'm using Control Shift and up, and I can hit Control Shift up, or Control up, and Control down. I could go up and down, or Control Home, and it would, Control Home, and it would take me to the start. But anyways, so I want to fill this whole thing, so I'm going to hit Control Shift arrow down, and then I'm going to hit paste. So all of these have this symbol right now, and I can simply go here. I can go to Notepad++, and you can see that it tells me that the file has changed. I can go and I can find this. Sorry for that. So now you can see that this semicolon that we've added is added like this. I've just added the semicolon, so I could have a semicolon at the end of every file. But I don't really need this, because what LibreOffice does is add a semicolon whenever it believes that you have another column. So let me show this real quick. Whenever you have another column, like if I add a 1 here, it's going to add a semicolon and then 1. Okay, but since that this is a semicolon and it already had a semicolon, so it adds it in between parentheses. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is just delete this. So I'm going to copy this, go to replace, Control H, or edit, and then replace, I believe, search, and then replace, and then I can replace this. I don't need to type anything here. Replace all, and then file, save, and now I can import this into yapt, and in this way you can modify all the files at once. Let me show you how this works. Regulation. Okay, so it's loaded right now. I'm going to go to MPC param. Okay, MPC param, and I'm going to go to field data and import data. Yes, it cannot be accessed because the file is opened. Let me close the file and try again. Import data. Okay, so there are some problems. Like I said, this is because of the empty lines that we had. Some params don't have this. And some do. So you might work with object act param and you might not have this error. So let me close out of this real quick. So if it works, if the parameter is good enough, if it doesn't have any problems, it should work. I'm going to show you another example right now of a parameter that I've already worked with, which is this one, clear count correct param. So I'm going to, and by the way, whenever you open yapt, it is going to show you the last file that you worked with, so you don't need to open it each time. Okay, so I'm going to hit import data, but I'm not going to do that unless I go to clear param here. Clear count. Now this is the new game pluses, so I'm going to hit import data and hit yes, and it says import complete because I've done the same thing, and you could see here that I have added the semicolon at the end. Okay, so this is how it works. If you want to look for something, you could just click, like I said, you could just click Control F and you can look for it if you are sure that this thing is in the menu that you're looking for. So yes, so these are the bullets. I think these are the projectiles in the game. These belong to different bosses. I could go to Radahn, for example, and find, okay, so this is his spear. No, I want his projectiles. And any attack that is associated with a boss is going to be highlighted, or is going to be in between square brackets. So bear that in mind. These are all the attacks for Radahn. Okay, so, and these are the velocity. This is the maximum velocity, minimum velocity, and so on. So these are the attacks for General Radahn. And one last thing I would like to talk about is whenever you want to look for something, it's better to go here into projects and then go to vanilla, CSV, and then Elden Ring, and you can see all the parameters. Now these, I believe these are our backups of the parameters that we've worked with. And one cool thing you could do is you could go to search and then find in files, and then give the directory of the file that you're looking for. And let's say that I want to look for grafted greatsword, for example. Let me show you how that looks like. Okay, grafted, and find all. It's going to take some time, but it saves a hassle when you're looking for something specific. See, now I have Godric the Grafted here. It has found this for me. If I scroll down a little bit, I'm going to look for the grafted greatsword that I talked about earlier. It should be there. It should be there somewhere. It's actually in the weapon. So there it is. Okay, so there it is. If I want to look for it, there it is. So I can find it. I can work with it that we had earlier. So I'm going to hit field data, export data, and then overwrite. And actually the problem was happening because of a problem with the Elden Ring Reforged mod. It doesn't happen in the vanilla. So I'm going to open this file and semicolon, okay, and I'm going to, let's say, SA weapon, damage, and then I'm going to, let me show you how you could do some things that are cool for this. You could click on the arrow and hit sword descending, and you could see the highest poise damaging weapon. So apparently this weapon has the highest poise. Okay, I lost it. Let me look for it again. Okay, so this is the highest damaging weapons. You could always freeze the panes. I could go to view, I believe. Yes, view, freeze rows and columns, freeze. Yes, freeze first column. No, actually not. This is not the one I need. I'm going to hit on freeze columns. Okay, I'm going to select C, and I'm going to select freeze columns and rows. And now whenever I scroll to the right, I can see what the weapon is. Now let me go to the weapons again. So this is the highest damaging weapon, and here are the lower ones. You can see that this red hammer has the highest poise damage, or one of the highest poise damage. The other one is the great club. You could see that the colossal weapons have higher poise damage than the colossal swords. You can see that this is a great sword. Great sword is actually a colossal sword. This one as well. Watchdogs, great sword. Golden swords, Zweihander is also a colossal sword, and they have a value of poise of 6. Now, just for the sake of demonstration, I could just increase this and make it an 8, so that whenever a person uses the heavy Ash of War on this, the heavy Ash of War on this weapon, the scaling would increase in terms of poise damage. So now they will do more poise damage. They have a higher probability of breaking the enemy's poise. So I'm going to hit File and then Save, and then use text format. And now if I open the file, it tells me, okay, so we can find all these things that we have modified. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I'm going to import it into Yapt, but I'm expecting an error. Okay, nothing happened. So everything works fine. There are some problems though within this. I think I know why. it's because I selected the string delimiter, which is the single quote. It will select the single quote. It should be the double quote, and this problem will not happen to you. So whenever you're done, you could go to File and then save the file, and then open the game, and everything should be working fine. That's it for this tutorial. I believe we've explained lots of concepts. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you need anything.